for this excellent webinar on medicine from tropical forest. Both are researchers, both are excellent speakers, dynamic speakers, and fluent, mesmerizing inspirator. So thank you very much again, Dr. Sekatji and Dr. Suparnaji. I would like to request Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee Madam for his valuable guidance.
Thank you once again for giving me another opportunity on the very interesting topic, the tropical forest and the medicines thereof. Basically, the ethnomedicinal knowledge of indigenous community and pharmaceutical potential of tropical forest is very important for part of the medicinal strategy. The World Health Organization recently raised concern about antimicrobial resistance and lack of novel antibiotics in the health sector. The success rate is very high, and the constituents are natural pharmaceuticals and natural products, which is used in the pharmaceutical industry. The rate is very high. So this local community, the local people, the indigenous people, they had the knowledge to collect these medicinal plants from the tropical forest, and tropical forest is a very important source of medicinal plants for traditional healthcare system. Basically, this tropical forest, the drug development laboratory, we can also consider it is a drug development laboratory. The habitat degradation and loss of powers of nature, then the denudation of forests, the cultural denudation, the historic denudation, and the forest denudation, which is the medicinal plants are basically deteriorating day by day. So, with the isolation of the penicillin and this the streptomycin, antibiotic discovery was initially based on the naturally occurring from these organisms, and the around half of the all antibiotics currently were used and discovered, especially in the 1950 to 1960. It is a golden age of antibiotic discovery. So, which has been identified and get from this tropical forest. Tropical forest and tropical rainforest both are very important in case of the so far as medicinal plants are concerned. There are so many medicinal plants are surviving in this tropical and tropical rainforest. So if we can count down it, it is more than 4,22,000 species of flowering plants in the world is surviving in this tropical forest and the tropical rainforest, out of which the 52,885 species are used for medicinal purposes. And the tropical forests are the most biodiverse platform and ecosystem, and they contain about half and total number of species in the world. And so we can say that the immense potential therapeutic value of the healthcare system and health possibilities is also identified in this tropical forest. The both deforestation and forest degradation reduce the availability of the medicinal plants by destroying the habitat. The global extent of tropical forests and tropical rainforest has reduced from 14% to around 6%. If forest loss continues at the same rate, the rainforest and the remaining forest, the tropical forest could be gone in less than 40 years. So there is a very alarming stage and very alarming situation. So, several notable drugs in modern medicine have been derived from this the traditional knowledge of the indigenous people from tropical forests. Quinine, used to treat malaria, is isolated from the bark of the cinchona tree, found in the tropical forest and tropical rainforest, which is very important and used in the traditional medicine. And the indigenous people has identified it and they used it from their knowledge and basis of their experiences. This medicines, this cinchona tree, the current and modern research has been found it out the medicines of malaria. And there are so many other diseases which is continuing. So it is also derived from this the rainforest, the Amazon rainforest, at the same time the other rainforest, and tuberculosis. The medicines also found it out this the which is also available in this, especially in the tropical forest. And this tropical forest is also having the species of the HIV recovering drug system, but the it is not yet been the vaccination is not yet been it is identified or it has been innovated, but the this HIV virus destroying medicinal plants is available in this tropical forest. Around 80% of the people of the world depend on the herbal medicine products, and with an annual global market worth $60 billion, more than the 1,000 companies are engaged in providing medicinal plant products from this tropical forest. So this the phytochemicals, especially the more important and identification and of the greater commercial value, which is gained using the traditional knowledge of indigenous communities. So they are our backbone. They are our the heritage, and they are our pride that we have to restore the marginalized people, especially the indigenous people, along with the medicinal plants, which is very important for the part of our life and everyday life. So traditional medicinal knowledge of the indigenous community is very important part of the ethnobotanical research and ethno pharmaceutical research and ethnomedicinal research. And this ethnomedicinal research and the future prospect is depending upon tropical medicinal plant forest, and where is very important part of the life, and our life is also depending, which is threatening nowadays, and it is the source. The Ayush doctors are the doctors of our present generation and future generation. And it was the Ayush doctor was our backbone of the past generation too. But gap between the past to the present and to the future is needed. The more research and more valuable concern of the doctors and professors who are practicing the Ayush treatment. Just because of this, medicinal plants are very important part of our life, the part of the 140 crores of people know not that it is the all over the world those who are suffering from any type of diseases. So this Ayush and this the medicinal plants are a very important part of our life, and it is the develop our generation wise system, and generation to generation we can enrich through this medicinal plants, especially which is available in the tropical forest. So we needed the research is needed for the restoration of the forest along with the indigenous people and the medicinal plants. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me such an opportunity. Thanks a lot.
थैंक यू मैडम, थैंक यू वेरी मच। मैं अब डॉक्टर शैकत कुमार बसु जी को सादर आमंत्रित करता हूँ।
Thank you.
मैं कंक्लूडिंग रिमार्क्स आदरणीय प्रोफेसर द्विवेदी जी से लूंगा, तो मैं प्रार्थना करता हूँ शैकत जी से। स्वागतम।
Thank you. Thank you, Sharma ji. I would like to thank Madam for giving a very nice outline overall coverage of the medicine from the tropical forest. So what I'm going to highlight about is the challenges the tropical forests are facing now and how we are losing out on the potential of developing medicine from this tropical forest. Now, one of the biggest challenges for medicinal plants, particularly from medicinal trees, which are spread across various, natural ecosystems and particularly different forest zones. Particularly, the tropical forest is equivalent to the what you call the Great Barrier Reef or the coral structures in the ocean. They both are similar in the sense that they are very rich in nutrients, And as a result, there are a very rich hot bed of biodiversity. Just like in the ocean, in and around coral reefs or with the coral growth, you will find hundreds and thousands of invertebrate and vertebrate animals, marine species that thrive and make these regions one of the richest areas of biodiversity. Similar are tropical forests, where because of heavy rain and continuous growth favoring factors, particularly for plants, it being present, plants are continuously growing because of constant rainfall and the temperature and the humidity that they get and the mist and the sunlight that helps them in this particular environment to produce a huge biodiversity. And this biodiversity of trees, which a vast majority of which are medicinal in nature, whether from their stem, bark, root, leaves, fruits, or in whichever parts they constitute, has been a part of an evolutionary process. For millions of years they have evolved to reach those stages. And if you look into their close integrated system with insects, primates like monkeys, birds, bats, and all other animals associated and integrated in a tropical forest, you will see that they are very deeply integrated with one another. There are many tropical species of plants which, if you grow the seedling or if you are even bringing them in nursery and trying to regenerate them, they do not produce. They do not grow, because unless they're growing in those specific particular soil, which is not very rich in nutrients, but the leaf litter and the biomass that has been accumulating on the forest floors for hundreds and thousands of years, and various soil bacteria, fungi, and other, which has a close association, make the roots or the tips of the plant availability of these nutrients through a close symbiotic association with the bacteria and fungi. When we are trying to protect these plants and when we are trying to multiply these plants by growing them in the nursery, a vast majority of them, we are not successful in growing them because we do not have that particular soil rich in those microflora and microfauna, which means the bacteria, the fungi, the algae, and the lichens, and all soil actinomycetes, and the earthworm, the particular species of earthworm, and all other columbola insects, and various other critters which are present in the soil that helps in the generation and the growth of those trees. So this is a very significant challenge, that we are not being able to exploit and produce commercial grade plantations out of these medicinally important forest trees. So many of these species are located deep into the core of the heart of the forest, and only the tribal communities which live deep inside the forest has a very strong ethnopharmacological knowledge or ethnobotanical knowledge, as has been rightly pointed out by Madam. They are not known, or even if they are known to modern sciences, people are not able to exploit them properly because they are engrossed so deep into the forest. And due to climate change, forest fires, pollution, exploitation, and destruction of tropical forests around the world, a vast number of these species, we are losing them. And when we are trying to commercially increase their number, we are not being able to do so. So, say whether we use very high grade biotechnology where we are doing tissue culture of these plants and trying to grow them under the laboratory conditions. In some cases, we have been successful in growing tropical orchids and stuff, but in case of trees, we haven't been such a great success that we could produce commercially grade plants. We have been able to produce plants in the laboratories with TLC I mentioned, which is tender loving care. And as soon as you take these plants out of the laboratory and try to grow them in the greenhouse, 80% of them die. And we take the remaining 20% and try to, grow them in the field. Even that's 90% of them die. So only hardly 2 or 3 plants surviving from each batch is not a great commercial success, in spite of the technology being available to generate this plant. We are able to generate the plant, but we are not being able to generate them at a commercial industrial scale, so that we have adequate number of lands outside the forest in designated fields or plots or areas of social forestry where we can have these plants grown, and then we can exploit them for exploiting chemicals for both AYUSH and non-AYUSH platform, preparation of medicals for the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, or even the functional food industries, both within the country and abroad. Furthermore, the interesting part is a very ecological observation. It has been found that these trees, when they grow up, they are 20, 30 feet high, and they produce flowers at the top of the canopy, because there is a strong competition in the forest in between these trees so that they can survive. So these plants or the vines, etc., compete with one another, and one particular type of tree try and dominate the growth of other trees by excreting chemicals into the soil, a process called allelopathy that does not allow other trees to grow at that particular vicinity other than its own family members or related cousins of that species. This is a very common phenomenon among plants that we see. So there is intense competition in the tropical forest for sunlight, because if you visit a tropical forest, you will see the bottom is almost lack of sunlight. The sunlight is completely blocked by the huge canopy that is formed at the top that takes away the sunlight. And even within this dark and stuff, fungi and other close interaction helps and builds the soil and makes nutrients available for these plants to survive. And outside that environment, they do not survive. And when the flowers are produced, they are at the canopy, not easily accessible. When the fruits are produced from these flowers, they are also not accessible, and only primates or birds or insects which travel high up on the trees, they are able to access them. Now, how the dispersal of the seeds happen then? They are transmitted through these birds and monkeys and other small rodents or animals which survive on the treetop. What they do, they take the fruit, they drop the seed, or they take the fruit and some of the seeds go through the gut system. It has been found in research for many of these medicinal trees, if the seeds are not processed in the guts of a particular species of bird, and unless they excrete and that seed drops onto the floor, coated with the poop of the bird, and has the processing of the enzyme in its stomach, the seeds won't germinate under natural conditions. There are many forest trees that has been found that unless there is a forest fire, the seeds don't germinate. The seeds crack open only when there is high heat. And then we realize that natural forest fires are also a part of this ecological system that helps in the germination and regermination of these plants. In many cases, it has been seen unless they pass through the guts of wild pigs or monkeys, unless they excrete the seed and they pass through the stomach of these animals, these seeds don't germinate. So when we collect those seeds from the forest and we think that we can multiply and regenerate them outside the forest ecosystem and help and build up a area of exploiting them for medicinal chemical extraction, we are mostly not successful. Only for a handful of species we have been successful to these days. But due to timber logging, exploitation, poaching inside the forest, ruthless exploitation of major and minor forest products, tropical forests are being ruthlessly exploited, and plants are being uprooted for their timber and other related qualities. They are harvested at an unprecedented rate, and as a consequence, many of these rare medicinal tree plants are now vanishing. They are slowly getting exterminated from the ecosystem. There may be many species still available in the Brazilian ecosystem or in the Equatorial Guinea or the Democratic Republic of Congo, one of the largest, darkest, or even in the neotropics of South and Central America, where there may be many medicinal plant species or tree species waiting for scientists to even discover them. We may not know. And in this case, the indigenous knowledge of tribal communities that has lived in those for hundreds and thousands of years and have a strong association of the forest could be of a great help. Even for surveys and bioscreening of these plants are not being done very good in India. We need to have integrative approach between the Botanical Survey of India, the forests of the forest ministry of the central and the state governments and the union territories, all to come and work together on a common platform. But such large nationwide collaborations are a dream in India. It's not happening. It does not work out very good. And as a result, as a consequence, we are not being able to screen hundreds and thousands of plants across various ecosystems to understand which may have medical potential, as it is being done in USA and other developed countries. They get plant samples from tropical countries and they're screening them under their laboratory conditions to see against which diseases, which bacteria, which viruses, or what plant extract could work against which disease. And this is a multiple long-term screening process that needs investment, which is not happening. So with this, I like to conclude my presentation by saying that the tropical forest houses a huge storehouse of our medicinal trees, but unfortunately, we are not being able to fathom the importance, commercially grow them, or even protect them in their natural environment so that we leave them out for our next generation so that they can enjoy the beauty of the traditional medicine achievable and accessible from the plants from this ecosystem forest. I am worried that many species will get extinct even within our lifetime. Before we pass away on this planet, maybe many species will vanish by that time, and we will be losing out on many medicinally important species that could have helped people if we could have helped them to survive in a sustainable, long-term, eco-friendly environment. Thank you so much, Professor Sharma.
थैंक यू वेरी मच डॉक्टर शैकत कुमार बसु जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आज आपने दो वेबिनार बड़ी शानदार आप दोनों ने की। मैं आप दोनों का दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ। बहुत बहुत आभार आपका।
Thank you.
थैंक यू डॉक्टर सुपर्णा जी, थैंक यू डॉक्टर शैकत जी। गुड नाइट, गुड नाइट। मैं अब कल जून का प्रोग्राम जुलाई का प्रोग्राम बनाऊंगा। आज तो
ओके,
नहीं कर पाया हूँ, अभी तो जेट लैग के
नहीं
शिकार।
नहीं, ठीक है। आप
सो गया था भैया, आके मैं
आप
4-5 घंटा सो लिया पूरा, और कोई उपाय नहीं था, माथा सुन्न हो रहा था।
ओके।